Paris Tonight is brought to you by Smartwater.
I don't know about you guys, but I have been loving these Olympic Games. I'm having a blast covering them. Everything's been great. But if I'm being honest, nothing compares to the feelings I have inside right now. Why? Because we are on our way to Lille. To do what? To watch the Canadian men's basketball team take on Australia. As you all know, I adore all things basketball. I adore the Canadian men's basketball team and the women as well. In fact, I remember when Canada played Australia in the 2000 Summer Olympic Games. It's been 24 long years, and we got one out of the way against Greece. This is a massive, massive game, and so we had to be there. I can't wait. I've never seen them live and in person. This is going to be incredible. Join us as we head off to Lille to watch the men take on Australia. And we made it. We're here. Pierre Mauroy Stadium. This is actually a football stadium / rugby stadium / massive venue. Jonathan David, the star of the Canadian men's national team, he actually plays here for the local club. So perhaps we'll get a little bit of good luck. And what a journey. What a journey getting here today, but also what a journey for the Canadian men's basketball team. 24 years ago, like we've been talking about all week long, that's the last time they were in the Olympic Games. And by the way, their first game at those games was against host Australia. And so perhaps Australia has been plotting some revenge for the last 24 years. I don't know. I'm just so excited to be here. This is incredible. I've never seen a Canada basketball game in person. Massive stakes. Game 2, they looked solid against Greece. So much is going to happen in there, and I can't wait to witness it all. But by the way, we're not just talking basketball in today's program. Also coming up on today's episode, we'll talk to the voices of Canadian basketball, Dan Shulman and Meghan Mcpeak, break down the men's and women's basketball tournaments so far. Then we'll head back to Paris to catch up with the women's rugby sevens team after the semifinal and potential medal matches. Plus, we'll provide an update on the final matchup for Canada versus Australia Day, as women's 3x3 basketball is the last match of the triple header. But first, let's see how the Aussie fans in Lille are feeling today about their team's chances. We have found the enemy, guys.
We're pretty good.
We're better. Paddy Thrills. It's game over.
He's an old man. He's geriatric Mills. Who are you married to?
Jack McVeigh.
I'm Jack's older brother.
Oh gosh, this is problematic. So let me guess, you're rooting for Canada?
Definitely not.
No. Where are you from?
Well, Australia.
Okay, I thought maybe you were Canadians in disguise. You know we're about to whoop your butt, right?
I don't think so. The Boomers have been playing spectacular. This could be a year that we medal again.
Are you a little bit nervous? You're about to watch your husband play in the Olympics.
Yeah, but he's got this.
A little cocky, dare I say. Not very Australian-like. By the way, did you know that today is Canada versus Australia Day at the Olympics? Did you know this?
No.
It's Canada versus Australia.
Freed up to Australia.
Wow, that was my joke. I was just saying, what's the key to victory? What do you have to do? Who do you have to stop on team? I mean, there's so many good guys. You know, SGA, Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett. I could go on and on.
I reckon it's going to be SGA. Look, in turn, you got to stop this man right here. Paddy Mills.
How old is he? Like 43 at this point?
It doesn't matter. 43 with a medal.
You've heard of Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, yes?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Jamal Murray, RJ Barrett.
We got Joe Ingles. Yeah, we got the team.
Oh wow! When you're breaking out Joe Ingles, you know you're
man of the
confident.
year.
At the end of the day, we all kind of love each other. We're Commonwealth members, family members, but I hope we.
We'll get you too.
Well, good luck to you guys.
Good luck.
I don't really mean that.
You don't
I hope
mean
you lose.
that? I
yeah.
hope you lose.
All right, well, Canada improves to 2-0, a hard-fought victory over Australia, 93-83, and I kind of feel like I've died and gone to basketball heaven. I'm talking about Canada basketball with the great Dan Shulman, the voice of Canada basketball outside the stadium. This is unbelievable. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. We've never met until this moment, and we're meeting on a very happy occasion for Canada basketball. That was a tremendous basketball game.
Okay, so your thoughts. Let's expand a little bit.
Well, Australia's great. I mean, this is the group of death with Greece and Spain and Australia was leading by 4 at the half. First of all, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander gets 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the game. They weather that storm, play well in the second, but they're still down, and then they just came out in the second half, and from top to bottom on the roster, played great at both ends. I thought their defense was great. Jamal Murray played better. Lou Dort, I'm an enormous Lou Dort fan. things go well when Lou Dort's on the floor. The team does well. He facilitates so many things. He's a great defender. And then to see somebody like Kem Birch, who's really maybe the 11th man on the 12-man roster, to come in and get minutes, a guy who probably never thought he would have the chance to play in the Olympics, and to get a few big baskets and to make some plays at the defensive end. That was not a majestic, fancy win. That was a gutsy, gritty win over a really good Australia team. And now at 2-0, Canada's put themselves in a great spot.
And a much different vibe, I feel, at the end of the game as opposed to Saturday, where I feel like Saturday they kind of like squeaked by. Here they put an exclamation point. Do you feel the same?
I feel the same. They got stronger as the game went along. You know, the Dylan Brooks exclamation point with the 3 at the end, and you never know when point differential might matter.
Right.
So a 10-point win is better than a 7-point win. But I think it feels like they could have said, let's go play again and we'll beat you again, that they had that much energy. This is a group, 8 of these 12 played at the World Cup last year. There is a core, there is continuity, which is something that on the men's side, Canada basketball hasn't always had. They've struggled to find it. Now they've got it with their elite players, which is the perfect combination. And I think this is a unit of 12. This is not a team. This is a program. This is an everlasting thing, I think, that they are starting to build. And I think we should mention Jordi Fernandez's name.
Oh, yes.
He just came along 6 weeks before the World Cup, and he guided them to a bronze medal last year. I thought his substitutions were great, keeping guys fresh, trusting certain guys, and maybe going away from the, quote, expected or normal substitution pattern. I don't think we thought we'd see that much of Kem Birch. We thought we'd see more of Trey Lyles or of Kelly Olynyk. But Birch was the guy big enough and quick enough to handle Jock Landale in the post, and I think everybody deserves a ton of credit. That Australia team could be on the podium at the end of this. They are that good. Canada getting a win over them was great.
Well, you mentioned the World Cup. One guy who wasn't there was Jamal Murray,
Yeah.
and he continues to be somewhat of an enigma because everyone's wondering, is he okay? Is he 100%?
Yeah.
When is the old or maybe the Nuggets version of Jamal Murray going to show up? Just spoke to him a minute or so ago, and he said, I'm good. Jason Tatum didn't play in Game 1 for USA. I don't care about my minutes.
Yeah.
I'm good. What are you seeing out of him?
I thought he was much better today than he was in the Greece game. I think the shooting numbers were 2 for 7. That's not what you want to see. I understand that. But he had 5 assists. He had a block shot on Patty Mills at one of the most critical points of the game. Like, who had Jamal Murray block shot on their bingo card is one of the most important plays of the game. But again, he's not forcing offense. I think everybody understands. If you had to pick one guy, this team belongs to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Everybody gets that. And if you had to pick another guy, it's R.J. Barrett, the way that R.J. has played in the first 2 games. And you've got Dylan Brooks and Lou Dort and the other guys we mentioned. And it's wonderful to see that if Jamal Murray is indeed content with whatever it is, 15, 20 minutes off the bench, do this, do that. They'd love 24 points a game, but they don't need the offense. They need the intangibles. Make your free throws, hit the open man, get back on D. Now with the additions of Birch and Lyles and Nembhard and Murray, like all 4 of those guys are really good players. This team went 11 deep in this game today and won the game doing that. And I think that's one of the big keys to their success.
Last quick one. Can you take the broadcaster hat off? You're a Canadian.
Yeah.
You're a proud Canadian.
Yeah.
You love basketball.
Yeah.
How incredible is all of this for
I'm
you?
having the time of my life. I'm not going to lie. If there's a little extra oomph or growl or woo in my voice during these games, I apologize. I hope everybody likes it. This is super fun. As you said, 2 of my loves are Canada and basketball, and here they are happening at the same time. And I know you followed it forever as well. There were so many years with the loss in the Philippines, and then the loss in Mexico City, and then the loss in Victoria. They were always this close and couldn't get over the hump. To get over the hump and to have a team of this caliber that's not only here but might actually do something special here is phenomenal. I hope people are getting up early and watching the games back home, and I hope they're enjoying them as much as Meghan and I are enjoying doing them. But, Canada's in a great spot now, and hopefully you and I will be having a similar chat in Paris next week.
I look forward to that. It's such a joy to listen to you call the
Thank you.
games. Continue to enjoy it. Can't wait to see you in the gold medal game in a few days' time. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to.
I won't.
You're not, I could be a little biased.
Yeah.
That's Dan Shulman. For more on the men's basketball team, take a look at this.
Who's most likely to get a technical foul at the Olympics?
Dylan Brooks. Everyone has said Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, man, he can't wait to get a technical.
Dylan. I might get one too. I don't know.
I don't want to put it into the air. We can't get text. It counts as a personal foul.
Most likely a technical foul is definitely Dylan Brooks. He's got a problem.
Most likely to get a technical foul at the Olympics.
Me. I'll probably get the first one.
I've gotten like 4 already in FIFA. It was a point where people didn't believe I was Canadian because of the way I play, and they were shocked. So.
He likes to play with that edge and get under your skin, but if you really know Dylan, he's just playing with you.
All right, so the vibes are high right now as far as the men are concerned. Maybe not so much as far as the women are concerned, but Meghan Mcpeak, analyst for CBC, all things Canadian basketball, is going to try to lift the vibes a little bit. Maybe, perhaps. I haven't asked her. We'll find out. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Ariel, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so 0-1 as of right now. Not a strong performance against France. First off, your kind of initial thoughts on what you saw out of them.
Yeah, coming into that game, the focus for Victor Lepeña and the women was a couple of things. One, they had to make shots. You go back to Tokyo, especially the three-point shooting, it was not in their favor. And unfortunately, that did not bode well for them against France in their first matchup. The other area was he didn't want to see them have a lot of turnovers, and that was another area, unfortunately, against France. They were able to turn Canada over and then get out and run. And France is one of the best teams in transition. So you look at those 2 points of emphasis that ended up being really the Achilles heel for them, especially in that second quarter of the women's game versus France. It was almost like the avalanche was just a little too much for them to get back into it. At this point, it was kind of just playing with pride towards the end of that game.
Yeah, only 2 points in that second quarter. That was hard to watch. How are you feeling about their chances as of right now?
I'm looking at this as just get to 1-1. And you can still give yourself a chance in essentially the women's version of the pool play of the group of death. And you know what? Look at that of what you did well in that French game. In the second half, they did a much better job moving the ball, trying to get some paint attack and trying to get something in transition for themselves. What can you do from that French game against the Opals when you see them? Because the Aussies are not going to back down. They're in a similar situation of being 0-1 in what was an upset in the women's tournament, losing to Nigeria. So they're going to come out with a lot of physicality. They're going to come out wanting to shoot the three, much like we saw from the French women. So you've got to really defend the perimeter.
What are you seeing as far as their body language? Obviously, they kind of like got right in at the last minute in this tournament. France is France, but are you sensing confidence, or are you sensing a team that is doubting themselves right now?
From what I've seen from them since that loss, and even during the game, you could still see that heads were high.
Okay.
Heads were not low. The body language, you didn't have slumped shoulders, kind of feeling down or feeling sorry for yourself. Because the one thing in this tournament, the other countries are not going to feel sorry for you, especially when you think of the Opals. They're in a similar situation. Got kind of surprised by the Nigerians, got outplayed, got turned over a lot. So you have two teams that were surprised and kind of got punched first. They now want to punch back, and that's what I want to see from the Canadian women in this matchup.
You said that, and I kind of feel like I had to do it myself. I feel like we could all learn from that, right? We should all walk around like this. Proud, yeah. You and Dan are doing a great job on the calls. Thank you so much. Continued success, and hopefully there's more positive things to talk about as far as the women are concerned, but the men are doing just great. So we'll be hearing much more from you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
All right, for more on the women's team, one of the vets, Natalie Achonwa, we spoke to her recently. Take a look at this. So I see you've got Maverick here.
That's my baby.
Your relatively newborn
Yes.
child. It's an amazing thing to see you working out and on the court, and you've got the bassinet there, the stroller there. Can you describe what this year has been like for you as you enter motherhood?
Well, I couldn't once again imagine this. Going through pregnancy, being pregnant during the World Cup was its own special time. Victor likes to joke, oh, we had an extra player on the court. But, you know, after that, having the time to really just go through my pregnancy, have Maverick, and get back into the sport on my own terms has been something great. To have the support system of Canada Basketball, knowing that they're giving me the grace I need to get back to being a professional athlete has been like the biggest boost in my corner. You get into this like culture of having babies and like snapping back and stuff like that, and that has not been me. That has not been my journey. But I have had tremendous people in my corner that have been giving me the resources, giving me the time that I need to get to the point of where I will be when we play these games. And so it has been the biggest challenge and the biggest blessing, but Maverick gets to be along for the ride.
All right, our time here in Lille is over. We got to get back to Paris. Why? Because the Canadian women's rugby sevens team is in the gold medal game. They just beat Australia, which means, by the way, we're now 2-0 against Australia with one more to go, 3x3. We're going for the clean sweep, baby. For now, time to make this train. Let's go.
Outshine Gold, presented by Lululemon. mental care is super important to myself personally.
It's pretty simple. I like to go for walks.
I think the one thing that helps for me, like with my mental well-being, is actually knitting.
I love just doing absolutely nothing.
I bet a lot of people do this, but I get my nails done before like every big tournament.
I recently learned to crochet.
Oh, awesome. So we get to crochet together one day.
Probably gonna bring crochet and needles probably to the Olympics.
I find it very relaxing. I get to disconnect and do an activity that normally I wouldn't do.
For myself, there's a lot of meditation, visualization. That's become pretty much a daily process for me to make sure that my head is in the game as much as my physical form.
And that is self-care to the max.
All right, so it's been a series of firsts for Team Canada at these Olympic Games so far, and now you can add women's rugby sevens to the list as well. Why? Because these women were a part of the squad that just won silver. Just like a couple hours ago, Canada's best finish in that particular event ever. Congratulations, guys. We're so lucky to be joined by Piper Logan, Charity Williams, and Olivia Apps, silver medalists. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I understand, by the way, there's like a team party going on right now, so I'm just wondering how much do you hate me that, to be fair, you're not just talking to us, but I've seen you do a bunch of interviews. You probably want to be celebrating with your friends and family, right? And teammates.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're super excited to be able to share the moment with them as well. They've been such a huge part of our journey here, so to be able to have a lot of our friends and family actually here to celebrate with us tonight is really special.
Going into the games, Olivia, like if we were to be honest with each other, what were you thinking? What kind of finish were you expecting?
Honestly, like I was very confident that we could finish on the podium. Wasn't really sure what placing. I just knew that we had it in us to do that because when we, like this season, when we've really like set our mind to it and we've been able to have a strong, healthy squad, we've been able to finish in some really successful matches. So for us, I think we just had a lot of confidence going into this tournament that if we stuck to our process and just really built every game that we would find ourselves on a podium.
Speaking of healthy, I can't help but notice the boot.
Yeah.
What is going on there and how are you feeling?
You know, I feel great.
You look great.
Look, yeah. Just a little ankle injury in the game against Fiji, or New Zealand maybe. But you know, at the Olympics, sometimes you just got to push through some things, and that's what I did. And I had the support of my teammates and coaches and a really excellent medical team with Team Canada. So they helped me stay on the pitch and get the job done.
Incredible, and what an incredible run. I mean, first the win over France, you spoiled everyone's night there, and then obviously the win over Australia. At what point did you start to feel like the confidence of the team was just building to get a result like this?
Yeah, I think that win over France really solidified that we were in this and we could do it, and I think it just built our confidence. And then from there, going and playing Australia, and it was the same mindset. I think we had so much belief in each other, and it was no matter what happened on that field, we were going to die on that field, trying our absolute best. And so, yeah, I think that's really where it started.
I'm always curious talking to Olympic athletes about the silver medal because obviously, you know, the gold medalist wins their last game, as does the bronze. Unfortunately, silver's a little weird, but it's an incredible one because it's second place. So how do you feel about the silver? Because you were so close to beating the #1 team in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a real shame, I think, if we felt disappointed in not having a gold medal, because in the end, I think the silver represents a lot of strength and resilience that this group has gone through in the last 3 years. And to think where we were last year, coming 9th in the HSBC 7 series to finishing 2nd at the Olympic Games, I think is a huge accomplishment. And I'm so proud of the team and being able to make it to their first final this season at the Olympic Games and to put out a performance against New Zealand, like as the gold medalist from Tokyo, I think is just incredible. So very proud for us to be winning silver.
Back in December, you wrote a letter to yourself. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And so we have that letter, and we were wondering if you could read it now that the games are done. You wrote a letter to your future self about the upcoming games.
I did. At the Montreal thing we did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so
Would you
cool.
be willing to share what you wrote to yourself?
I could. Yeah, I honestly don't remember.
Okay, that makes this
And
even
I'm
more
gonna be
fun.
honest that like it was kind of in like a weird moment in the media day, and so I was kind of like, wow, what am I writing right now?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
It's a
You're
lot
like,
of pressure.
You're like, dear diary, like what the hell's going on? That's kind of where I was at. But yes, I can read it.
Okay,
It's
go ahead.
like a little cringe, but it's fine.
No, we love cringe. We love
We
cringe.
love cringe. Let me just like.
Go ahead. The floor is
It
yours.
says, "Hey you, look at you. You've reached the end. I can imagine it hasn't hit you yet. True. Whatever happened out there, I'll remind you of this. Take a moment to appreciate your journey, everything that went into this moment, every practice, every loss, every celebration, every time you felt like you were missing out on a normal life. It was all worth it. Be proud of you, be proud of your teammates, celebrate with your team, and know that you did something incredible.
Wow.
Very well said.
I don't know, but I feel like crying right. I'm actually, like,
Yeah,
my eyes are
that
watering
helped
right
me a
now.
little bit.
I don't know, you guys seem numb to it, but that was incredible.
Yeah, that's
Well done. I feel like you almost predicted it with that letter.
I
A finish
guess.
like this. It wouldn't have hit the same if you would have finished 10th or something like that.
It
right?
wouldn't have hit the same,
Yeah.
for sure.
We probably wouldn't be here in this
That's
interview.
true.
I wouldn't be
Never
reading
seen
this.
that
I
again,
would have
yeah.
forgotten all about it.
Well, enjoy that, enjoy the victory, and again, congratulations, guys.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you very much.
So as we said at the top of the day, it was Canada versus Australia Day here at the Olympic Games. Men's basketball, check. Women's rugby sevens, check. How did the 3x3 team do? We'll tell you in a moment. First, here's a closer look at one of their stars.
So I remember growing up, and whenever the Olympics were on, they were on for the entire duration of the 2 weeks or 3 weeks that it was on. And we had a 13-inch television in our TV, and we'd all huddle around and watch the Olympics. And I remember Haley Wickenhauser and the 2002 team playing in Salt Lake City and winning gold. And I was doing an assignment at school when I was in elementary school. They're like, "What do you want to be?" And I remember saying an Olympian.
I can tell you get even emotional talking about it. Why does it strike that kind of emotion in you when speaking about this?
I think I've just found such a belonging and community in sport, and I've always been really competitive. So I think it's allowed me to kind of show and express myself in a very healthy and natural way, and be able to own and be proud of kind of the person that I am.
All right, so like we said, it was Canada versus Australia Day at the Olympics today, and it was so far so good. In the morning, Canada beats Australia in men's basketball. Then the win in women's rugby sevens, and so then it came down to 3x3 to see if we could get the sweep, and sweep we did. The women win. Solid performance in their first game of these Olympics. 3-0 against Australia. Someone needs to find those guys that I spoke to earlier in the day who seemed oh so confident that they would sweep Canada. No chance. Nice job. Canada reigns supreme. They are the kings and queen of the Commonwealth. How do I know this? I just anointed them as such. All right, so a great day was had for all things Canada versus Australia. And that leads me into my Paris Tonight podium. You know, my 3 favorite moments of the day. And of course, this is going to be basketball heavy because it was a long journey to get to Lille. And so my bronze medal moment, that actually goes back to the mix zone after the win over Australia. I got to be there with some heavy hitters from the world of media, just interviewing the guys. I would be at home watching this and watching all the post-game content, reading, listening, and all that. And there I am, holding the CBC mic flag, talking to my guy Jamal Murray, huge MMA fan, by the way, RJ Barrett, once a Nick, always a Nick. Talked to the coach, Jordy Fernandez, as well. That was great. And Dylan the Villain, Dylan Brooks. We talked a little pro wrestling. I loved it. It was great to be there. Everyone couldn't have been nicer. I had a blast doing it. That's what I love to do most, interviewing people. And so that was definitely one of the highlights of the day for me. My silver medal moment, that goes to the moment I shared with Dan Shulman. I consider Dan Shulman one of the best broadcasters in North America, regardless of sport. What a voice he has. What a presence. He is just an absolute legend. Whether it comes to basketball calls or baseball calls, the man can do it all. College, NBA, it doesn't matter. He is the voice, in my opinion, of Canadian basketball. I've been a fan of his for a very long time. I'm a fan of his sons as well. And getting to do a segment with him after Canada's win over Australia was a really cool thing. There was a moment there where I was looking at him and listening to him, and I was like, what is my life? How did I end up here? This is nuts. This is crazy stuff. And so that would be my silver moment. And of course, the gold had to be, again, witnessing Canada in the Olympics, first time in my life, a win over Australia, a hard-fought win. They made adjustments in the second half. They were down by 4 at halftime. The defense was spectacular in the second half. And how about RJ Barrett? How about Lou Dort? How about Dylan Brooks? Just an amazing win. And how about Kem Birch of Montreal? the 11th man on the team, coming up big. You know, a lot of talk going into these games was the fact that Canada didn't have enough depth in the center position. Well, if we could get that out of Kem Birch throughout these games, look out. We're coming for the medals, baby. All of them. We're taking all of them. For now, though, I will chill out and I will look ahead to tomorrow because we have a massive, massive game going down. Canada versus Colombia in women's soccer. Oh my gosh, win and they're in. They have ignored all the noise, all the drama, all the controversy, backs against the wall. Take 6 points away, no problem. They're 2-0, they beat Colombia, they're into the knockout stage. Would be a massive, massive story, a massive achievement considering everything that they've been through thus far over the past week and considering the fact that their coach hasn't coached them once. She's back home. And so let us root them on and wish them the best and hope that they can prevail and shove it down the throats of all the haters. That's tomorrow, by the way, 3 p.m. Eastern on CBC Gem. We'll be watching. Hope you will as well. Thank you for watching another episode of Paris Tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Paris Tonight is brought to you by smartwater.